Tonight on No Pulp, Calvin and I share our opinions on some surprising upsets and meet who might be the best college basketball player on the women's circuit.
Her name is Caitlyn Clark, and she is the best player on the women's circuit. No, I'm not kidding you, but some people out there are. We'll tell you who when Are You Kidding Me makes its triumphant return.
I'm pretty excited about that triumphant return. We'll hop in the juicer and talk the biggest games of the weekend. It's all on No Pulp. It's right now.
Are we crazy?
Again, you're going over too many times. I can't with you.
When you lose those games, it's tough for those teams.
Mainstream schmainstream. I am ready to go to battle. Welcome inside No Pulp. I'm Matt Boneparte. That is Calvin Christoforo. Calvin, I'm amped to be back.
I'm so amped to be back. You're already spitting facts already?
That's true.
Let's roll. Come on now, let's go.
Let's start with an upset. This past Saturday, UCLA went down to Tempe, Arizona, thinking it had an easy win on its hands, as Arizona State has been straight up terrible this season. But the Sun Devils prevailed, stealing an 87-84 win over the third-ranked team in the country in 3 overtimes. Calvin, what's wrong with the Bruins?
There's nothing wrong with the Bruins. The only Bruins that have problems play in Boston. Come on, this is a UCLA team coming off a national championship. We're really going to say what's wrong with the Bruins after losing a game in triple overtime? You know what triple overtime tells me?
Yeah.
It's
what
a
does
tie.
it tell you, Cal?
That's a tie.
No,
it's
no,
like
it's not a tie.
3 overtimes. Come on. UCLA started the season 19-2.
It's not a tie, though. That's just breaking. No, that's not true at all.
These guys
that's
are
an absurd.
These guys are on a
great.
They're going to be right where they are. There's nothing wrong with this UCLA team. They're going to be red hot going into the tournament like they were last year.
I agree that it isn't a big problem. It's not a tie. They lost this game. That makes it 2 in a row against teams in Arizona. Maybe they just can't play in that state. But like you said, this is a good team. They made it to the Final Four last year. A lot of those pieces came back. And how about the statistics on this team? A 12-point scoring margin. They go out and blow teams out pretty much every night out. They were a very, very good team. But let's agree on something. What's the biggest player, or what's the biggest problem with UCLA right now?
Well, like I said, there's no problems. But if you want to pinpoint the last 2 losses on someone, it's Johnny Juzang, who is 11 for 37 from the floor in those 2 losses. He's got to be your #1 guy. If you want to make a tournament run, it has to be on the back of Johnny Juzang. He can't go 11 for 37 from the floor and expect to win games.
Well, I think they're just getting dragged by their competition. One game against Arizona, they can't play offense, and then they can't play defense against Arizona State. You got to pick one. They got to just play their own game, play as a team, and just blow teams out because they know they can.
You know what they say when UCLA plays in Arizona?
What do they say?
It's hot outside, but the Bruins are cold on the inside.
Wow, look at that.
That's a fact, by the way.
Joke.
But that wasn't the only high-profile game that happened over the weekend. Number 8 Kansas throttled number 10 Baylor 83-59. Matt, the Bears are one of the best teams in the nation, and they are playing great basketball right now, but they got blown out by Kansas. What's the issue with Baylor?
There's no issue with Baylor. Listen, Kansas is just one of the best teams in the country. They have an incredible offense, 80 points per game. That's good for 19th in the country. Their star player, Ochai Agbaji, the guy is an absolute king, Calvin, and I don't throw that word around lightly.
You don't?
He shoots over 45% from 3, over 50% from anywhere on the court. The guy is an absolute monster, and this Kansas team is a bunch of winners. They are a really, really good squad. Baylor shouldn't have their heads too low after this one.
Yeah, road losses to Alabama and Kansas, and we're trying to push the panic button on Baylor. I completely agree with you. We shouldn't. Scott Drew is still the man in Waco for the Bears, coming off national title. They'll be just fine. How do you think, though, they're going to play in their upcoming schedule? Because they run through an absolute gauntlet in what is once again a loaded Big 12.
They should be confident in themselves because they are one of those great teams that make up the Big 12. 24th defense in the country, 40th offense. They've got 7 players averaging 8 points or more. I mean, that's really, really good for any team.
You took the words right out of my mouth. They spread the wealth. They got a ton of depth. They are like the Florida State in the ACC and the Big 12, except with more talented players. That's going to bring you to another national championship run. Baylor is loaded, no concerns from me.
And like you mentioned, a great coach in Scott Drew, so I wouldn't be worried if you're a Baylor Bears fan. All right, on to the women's circuit. UConn has been on a tear without star guard Paige Beckers. Beckers, of course, suffered a knee injury that required surgery. She's been out since mid-December, though without her, the Huskies have maintained a number 10 overall ranking, most recently capped off with a win over number 7 Tennessee. Calvin, do the Vols have what it takes to win the Southeastern Conference?
No. No,
They don't at all.
They know
I
they don't.
agree.
They're 1-3 since Kean Green went down. They're big in the middle. Bad losses, too, to Florida and Arkansas. And guess who's in the Southeastern Conference? Come on.
Is it University of South Carolina?
It's number 1 South Carolina, who nobody is beating in the Southeast. Number 1 team in the nation right now. The Vols might be the second best team in the conference. I might not even deny that. But they're not getting by South Carolina and winning the conference. It's just not going to happen.
Well, if you look at that full screen, the 2 players on the Tennessee side, they had double digits. Nobody else for the Volunteers did. I think that's some of the problem for this team. But Calvin, to the Huskies now, Paige Becker's probably going to come back at the end of the season. Maybe she does. Does she disrupt the rhythm of this team?
Come on, that's outlandish.
I agree.
Does one of the best players in the country disrupt the rhythm of an already good team? No, she doesn't disrupt the rhythm.
I had to ask that. I agree with you.
I think they need her to win a national title. I don't think they're a Final Four team without her. Like, they have a big win against Tennessee, all good and fine, but they've lost some really big games this season without Paige Beckers. They are a fringe Elite 8 team without her. They can win a championship with her. She by no means makes them worse.
And it's not just about Beckers in that situation. Gino Auriemma is way too good of a coach to let something like that happen.
All right. We agree on that. We'll stick with the women's side. My favorite player, if you ever watch this show, you know my favorite player is Caitlyn Clark. Once again goes bananas.
Yeah.
46 points,
Big time.
10 rebounds, all of that against Michigan. That's her third 40-point game of the season. Is she the best player in the nation?
Absolutely, she's the best player in the
There it
nation.
is.
Just look at the numbers, Calvin. She's averaging 27, 8, and 8. She's putting up LeBron's prime. I mean, that's ridiculous. She has been stupendous for Iowa, and I think they're going to win the Big Ten with her at the front. She is so good. I am riding that train till the very end.
All right, let's agree and then let's disagree. I think she's the best player in the country. Quite frankly, I've said it all year. But to say the Hawkeyes are the team to beat in the Big Ten is not the case.
When you got a player like that, of course you are.
Clark had 46 and 10. They lost to number 4 Michigan, 98
Michigan's
to
a
90.
great
The
team.
Wolverines dropped 98 on the Hawkeyes. That is the team to beat in the Big Ten. There's a lot of great teams in the Big Ten with Indiana, Mackenzie Holmes going down. They take a step back. Ohio State's a good team, but they're kind of on the fringe. I think now it's Michigan's conference to lose. This is a Wolverine squad that looks sharp. They can not only win the conference, they can also have a shot at winning it all.
Well, you play that game 100 times, Calvin. I bet you Iowa wins more than you think.
I bet
And here's the
Kaitlyn Clark
thing.
doesn't score 46 points.
Well, she might not have to because she's not the only great player on this team. Monica Sinano, she's also incredible, averaging 20 points a game under the hoop. A great big for that team.
She's solid, and they got good inside-outside game with Clark. I love the Hawkeyes. You know.
I know you do.
I love the Hawkeyes.
I'm
but
actually
to
surprised
say
you don't have as much faith in them as I do.
At this point in the season that they're a favorite to win the Big Ten, I just can't do it.
I think they
the way that
definitely
Michigan's been
have a
rolling.
chance.
Michigan's won rattle-off wins against Ohio State, Indiana,
They're a great team.
and
Don't
Iowa,
get me wrong.
all
I
in a row.
understand
The Wolverines are
that the
team to beat.
Wolverines are good, but they don't have a player like Caitlyn Clark. Nobody does. All right, we got to take a short break. On the other side, Calvin will hop in the juicer against our college basketball big brain, Joe Puccio. Stay with us on No Pulp.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or
Welcome back to No Pulp. I'm Matt Boneparte. Over at the wall is Calvin Christoforo alongside our college basketball megamind, Joe Puccio. Joe, you're not very good at this game, as history shows.
Fact.
Are you confident today?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm winless coming into tonight. I have to win at some point. I think it's going to come against Bino right here.
No one ever said you had to win, so I don't know where you're getting that from. But guys, let's start on the women's side of the ball. This season has been full of unexpected outcomes, but I want you to give me your biggest surprise team this season. Calvin, go.
That is the Arizona Wildcats, a team you're like, oh, big surprise. They went to the national title game last year. What do you mean big surprise? Well, they lost their #1 player in Ari McDonald. She went to the WNBA. Absolute stud out the door. The Wildcats start the season ranked 22nd in the country. You look up, they're number 6 in the nation, 17-3 on the year, are dominating without McDonald, and once again, primed to make a national title run. Arizona didn't rebuild after the loss of McDonald. They reloaded, once again being a favorite in the Pac-12. Arizona is the biggest surprise to me.
Look, the Wildcats certainly have some things to work on, but if you're going to talk about women's college basketball, you have to look to the ACC. And the surprising team to me is Notre Dame. They started off the year 10-10 last year and were the 8th best scoring offense in the ACC. They didn't do much right, but this year they've turned it around. 75 points per game. That's second best in the best college basketball conference in the women's game. They finally have that two-headed, you heard me right, the two-headed monster of William Miles and Maya Dodson. Even throw in Maddie Westbelt, make it a big 3 in South Bend. The Irish are one of the best teams in college basketball.
Calvin, I really don't see how a team could be an underdog after going to the national championship game. I get that they lost their players, but Calvin, I mean, come on. You know how this goes. That's an absurd take. Joe wins round 1. All right, same questions, but I just want men's basketball now. You know, all about equality here on No Pulp. Who returned the most heads so far this season on the men's circuit?
I'm looking at Iowa State.
Oh,
listen,
there it is.
Listen, they're
Another
not the
chump
world
falls
beaters.
for it.
They're not the world beaters.
Another one does.
But the Cyclones were 2-22 last year in a Power 5 conference. They ended on an 18-game losing streak. But you look at the Cyclones this year, 16-7. They clobbered number 5 Memphis and lost by just a handful of points to the Baylor Bears, the #1 team in the country, 13-0 in non-conference play this year. It's a stark difference in a conference where the Big 12 is run by some big-time teams. The Cyclones, you have to look at them.
The Cyclones have grabbed another victim. Congratulations. You're going to hop on the bandwagon of a team that's going to get bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
After going 2-22? That's a win to me.
It's fine. It's fine. They got you right where they want you. For me, the answer is Auburn, who started the year ranked 22nd in the country, but is 1 loss on the season and is #1 in the nation. We thought the Tigers were going to be good, right? We thought they were going to be good. We didn't think they were going to be this good, people. Jabari Smith is an absolute stud freshman coming in. This is a guy who was a big-time recruit. How would he translate to the college game? He's translated. Bruce Pearl, one of the best coaches in the nation, has done a great job with his team, taking a squad that was under the radar and making them to be the force in the favorite in March. Nobody expected this Auburn team to be this darn good.
Joe, I think Iowa State was a great shout. I actually thought about it when I was reading that question, but Calvin's got to get the point here. I mean, Auburn is just on another level this season. Sure, they were ranked to start the year, but nobody expected them to be 22-1 right now with the superstar level power that they've got. I mean, they are just incredible. So 1-1 as we head to the third question. From positives to negatives now, which team has let their fans down from the highest expectations this year? We'll start on the women's side. Joe, get us going.
And I'm looking at UCLA. I know you guys talked about the men's program to start off this show as if they're back. Well, UCLA, they're no longer here. Look, the Bruins were one of the best teams in women's college basketball last season, but they've just sort of fallen off of a cliff right now. And the Pac-12 has improved over the years. We've seen schools like Arizona, Oregon State, Washington State. They have climbed up the Pac-12 ladder. UCLA 17-6 last season, now 10-8. The Bruins on the women's side have a lot of work to be done, and they're looking for some luck from that men's program they play in the same building.
I'm glad you mentioned Oregon State climbing up the ladder because the ladder has started to slide down. I'm going with the Beavers. I'm sticking to the Pac-12. This is an Oregon State team that we both expected to climb up that ladder in the Pac-12, right? They went to the round of 32 a season ago. This year, they've fallen flat on their faces. Picked to finish 4th in the Pac-12 to start the year, 14th in the nation. Thought they were going to be a contender to try to knock off Stanford, who was obviously the prize in the conference, but they just haven't done that. 11-7 on the year. They're unranked. They're only scoring about 65 points per game. People thought this was the Beavers' year to potentially make a run and contend for a Pac-12 title. They're not even in the conversation right now. I'm quite frankly disappointed about it.
They're not defending the dam.
This was a really close one. I think you guys both bring up pretty good examples of teams that have really let their fans down, but I'm going to go with Calvin's here. So he's up 2-1 right now, Joe. You are on the brink of being winless once again. Are you scared?
It's all right. I'm used to it at this point.
Okay, for the men's side of the ball, there are plenty of options. Calvin, which one did you pick?
That's Michigan, and they are a massive disappointment, to say the least. Michigan, at points last year, was the #1 team in the nation. I went on this program and declared the Wolverines the best team in the country, and since then, they've fallen flat. They were number 6 overall to start the year. They're not even going to make the tournament right now. Imagine that. Going from 6 to out of the field of 68. Juwan Howard, again, he's a really good coach, but this year is not it. 11-9 in the season. Michigan is going to not make the tournament. Are you kidding me? In a year where you were picked to be a 2-seed preseason, that cannot happen. That's a disappointment.
Well, one team that's also been disappointing along the same lines as Michigan the last few years is Virginia. I feel like the Cavaliers have
just beat Duke
by 1, and they lost to James Madison. They lost to the Dukes. Hear me out. Virginia is 15-9 this year with the same crew that they've had in years past. When Virginia isn't shooting well from outside, the Hoos are not one of the best teams in college basketball. They're just inside the top 100 in defensive efficiency, and they've had the lowest scoring margin in the since 2010 with 4 points. Virginia used to be a threat to teams in the ACC. I know they just beat Duke by 1. If you look at the resume for the Cavaliers, this is not a tournament team. Virginia has a lot of work to be done for the rest of this season.
Matt, there are so many issues with that point.
Calvin,
what do you mean?
Calvin, I don't need to hear it. Joe, this is what you're looking at right now. 0-4, buddy. 0-4.
Thank you.
All right? I hope you can see this piece of paper I'm holding up. Maybe it's a little faint in the camera, but
you can't see it, Bones. I'm sorry.
You're 0-4, kid. I can't be calling you mega mind, big brain, and then you come on and you put on a performance like that. Brutal once again. Calvin takes it by a large margin. Right? That's all the time we have for the Juicer. When we come back, I'll join Calvin at that wall, and we'll play another game of Are You Kidding Me? There's no fault. Stick with us.
Boy said,
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees. Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back into No Pulp. Calvin Christoforo and Matt Boneparte. We're not kidding you. No, we are not kidding you, but there are some people out there that have been kidding us.
And we're not going to stand for it.
We're not going to stand for it. These are ridiculous plays in college sports that made us get up off of our couches. We're eating full plates of nachos together, chips all over the floor, and yell, "Are you kidding me?" I'll start with my favorite player in college basketball. That would be Caitlyn Clark. We talked about how she went for 46. Look at this shot. Wow. From the M and the Michigan logo off the break. 25 seconds on the shot clock. Caitlyn don't care. Are you kidding me? Green from the moon. This was from East Lansing. She just couldn't miss last night. No respect for the block and is right. A bullseye from Caitlyn. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
She'll launch from anywhere, and there's a good chance she hits from just about anywhere. We're going back to the basketball court for mine. Bruce Carpenter is at the line. It's Indian Hills versus Southeastern. He misses the first free throw. Braxton Bayless, here he goes. He's going for the shot. 0 seconds on the clock. He got it! That's 3 points. That's a win. What a rivalry. And it ends with an Indian Hills Warriors victory. Look at that in slow motion. Just gets it off. Banks it in. The bank is open every day for Braxton Bayless. Are you kidding me with that shot? Holy moly!
This guy went JUCO on me.
Yeah, I
like
did.
it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to one-up you.
No, you won't.
And I'm going to go UMaine hockey.
Oh, of course.
Taking on BU. Wilmer Skoog made me go, are you kidding me? Look at this goal. From behind the net, Pat Victor Osman rips it in behind the cage. This is familiar before. Where have we seen this play before, though? Haven't we seen a goal like this from behind the net? Oh, yeah. 1988 Syracuse legend Gary Gait stuffs it home against Penn behind the net. Let's look at the side-by-side. Skoog on the left, Gait on the right. 2 game-changing goals by Wilmer Skoog and Gary Gait. One more time. Gait streaking in. Skoog from behind the cage. Goalies don't even see it. You don't have eyes behind your back, and Wilmer Skoog once again proved that was crazy. Are you kidding me, Wilmer?
I don't know how I feel about the Gait comparison.
What do you mean?
They're not going to change the rules because he played. Air Gait was a thing, man. You got to give him his due diligence. Gary Gait was an absolute legend. Wilmer Skoog, still a great player, and that was a great goal, but I don't know about that comparison. All right, we're going back to the basketball court for the last one. We've got Indiana and Illinois. Andre Curbelo, he's going down the court. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, he took a tumble. Xavier Johnson takes it the other way, and the softest foul in college basketball history is called, and it's called intentional on Luke Good. Let's watch it again. He takes the tumble. Xavier Johnson gets a tap on the hip from Luke Good, and he gets a foul call. That is insane. Let the kids play. This is why all the older people say, oh, LeBron couldn't have played back in the 90s. Yeah, they're probably right if it was this officiating. That's crazy.
Who dropped the banana peels on Rainbow Road?
I don't know. Somebody did. It was probably Bowser up top.
Oh, when he goes down. Well, unfortunately, that's the end of I'm kidding you. And that is where we're going to end. We're going to go one more block left to go. Show's winding down. Don't go anywhere, though. We're going to be right back. We're going to get into the big games of the week on the other side. We'll also hit you with our final words. Are you kidding me? No, we're not. No Pope. We'll be right back.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Back at No Pulp, I'm at Boneparte with Calvin Christoforo. It's time to talk big games, Calvin. They don't really get any bigger than this weekend. Number 1 on the docket is number 14 Wisconsin taking a trip to East Lansing to face number 17 Michigan State. A battle of 2 underwhelming teams as of late. Who you got?
Michigan State just got rolled by Rutgers.
They did.
They gave Rutgers the S back. That's how bad Michigan State lost to the Scarlet Knights. They're coming off that loss. Michigan State already has a win over Wisconsin already early in the season. I don't think the Spartans get the Badgers twice. I go Wisconsin going to East Lansing and picking up a win on the road to the Big Ten.
Here's why I think you're wrong. I think that the Spartans are going to be playing angry. They're not happy they lost to Rutgers by 20 points. They're not happy about that at all. And like you said, they already beat Wisconsin by double digits. I think this is a Michigan State victory because they're a solid team. Maybe the numbers don't show it so well, but they play with grit, and any Tom Izzo-led team is going to be a good one. I take Michigan State.
You a plain grit guy? How do you like your grits?
True.
Okay, that's fair. All right, we'll move over to the women's side. They like grits in Georgia. Number 17 Georgia travels to face number 14 LSU on Thursday. This is a rematch of a thriller back in December. That was a 68-62 LSU win. Matt, who was the advantage this time?
I think I'm going to show the advantage to Georgia in this one. I think they've got some superstar power in Q Morrison and Jenna Stady. They're both great players. They combined for 30 points a game, Calvin. Come on!
Q Morrison is a stud, I'll tell you that much. I got the Bulldogs as well. Like I said, I don't think they're going to lose twice to the same team in conference. I think Georgia's playing good basketball. I got those Dogs beating up on LSU.
I also got those Dogs. All right. It is time for our final words now. I'll start, Calvin. As you might know, Duke's Coach K is retiring. This means plenty of fanfare, plenty of good wishes, but for Krzyzewski, it just means another season of basketball. Winning is on front of Coach's mind at all times, but when he went down to UNC Chapel Hill to face North Carolina for the last time inside the Dean Dome this past weekend, the emotions were, of course, running high. With Roy Williams in attendance, K's Blue Devils took down the Tar Heels 87-67, making the Legends 17-19 all-time in the Dean Dome. Though he does have a negative record, it's certainly a nice exclamation point for one of the greatest coaches ever to do it, Calvin, and I think he is the greatest coach of all time.
I also think he's still young enough to coach at a very high level. For me, I'm going to switch over to some hockey. The Boneparte is the best mid-season tournament in all of college sports. You can talk to me about the Maui Invitational or the Jimmy V Classic, but none of those hold a single drop of water compared to the Boneparte. Every first Monday night in February, when Boston University plays Harvard and Boston College plays Northeastern in the TD Garden, there are just so many more storylines on the line than just a tournament title. Bragging rights in the city, a banner in the Garden, and a win over two of the best teams in the nation year in and year out. When it comes down to it, the Boneparte is the best mid-season college tournament in sports. It's the best tournament in the nation that doesn't have a national title attached to it.
One more quick question before we leave, Calvin. Virginia beat Duke tonight by 1 point inside Cameron Indoor. You mentioned it a little bit, but what does that change for Duke? And is Virginia going to the NCAA tournament?
Virginia's a tournament team. You can talk to me all you want, Joe Puccio, about, hey, Virginia's underwhelming. First of all, they had no expectations. Second of all, they just beat Duke tonight.
And Reese Beekman,
Third
what a
of all,
legend.
They're going to the NCAA tournament. I can see why Joe Puccio is 0-4. I think Virginia is a tournament team. I think they proved that tonight on the road. I love Kaitlyn Clark.
They're going to have to put Kaitlyn Clark in the Virginia Basketball Hall of Fame.
I
mean, they're going to have to.
My favorite player on the women's side.
I love his ears, too.
He's great. You ever seen him pump fake a three?
I've seen it. I've seen him play Syracuse way too many times and beat him.
I like to call him a zone breaker. You ever play the game
Icebreaker?
Icebreaker?
A lot of others like to say that.
Ever play the game Icebreaker as a kid with the little hammer?
Yeah, little hammer.
That's Kaitlyn Clark. He's the little hammer. That goes in there and breaks those 2-3 zones.
Victories?
Yeah, I bet he does. He's the zone breaker.
All right, Calvin, that's all the time we have for Calvin Christoforo. I am Matt Boneparte. Follow us on social media at CitrusTV Sports, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever else you use. We'll see you next time.